Welcome to another adventure. Before the video starts, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Now, enjoy the video. So today, I thought we could talk a little bit about how to get KR on Krunker. So a lot of people have been like, oh dude, hey, how do you get KR, dude? How do you get KR? So we're gonna go through a bunch of things in this video, just to outline how, at least how I got KR and different methods of getting KR. And I'm also gonna share with you the best one. The secret one. So obviously the first one is you can play the game. You can just play the game, get KR from there. But how good is it though? How good is it really? You can earn a maximum of 30 KR per match. 40 KR if you have the premium. Each match is like 4 minutes long. And let's say it's a minute in between each match, just to make it simple. That means you're gonna make 360 KR per hour. If you have the premium, that will be 480 KR. So if you, let's say you play on a daily basis, you play 4 to 6 hours, that means the maximum that you can get is somewhere between 1400 and 2000, somewhere around there. But this is assuming that you get like the max each time, right? And if you don't get the max each time, then you're not gonna get that, right? So the average player is probably looking somewhere between 500 to 1000 KR. 500 to 1000 KR is very little. It's not a lot. There's skins out there for 100 KR, 100,000. You're gonna have to play literally like 200 days, man, to get that. So we gotta have some better methods than just playing the game. Because let's be honest, just playing the game, it's very little KR. But it's a great way to get the fundamental start, the first pool of money that you can use for later on. So you've gotten some KR, you're thinking, let's make some money. Let's go and open some box. No. Case opening is like the worst. That is not even a method. We all know you don't make money on it. Never open cases. I know it's fun to try to get some new skins and whatnot, and if you have the capital to do it, then of course go ahead. But most people are not gonna have it. It's just a waste of time. That's the sadness of it. It's just a waste of time. Now, a lot of people in Krunker, for some reason, are really hooked on trading. So there's if you don't know, there's a trading capability in Krunker. I'll give you this skin if you give me that skin, right? And that's kind of how the trading works. I can't stress this enough. Trading is scam. When you trade with someone, let's make it as simple as possible. You both trade one skin for each other. What's gonna happen? Most likely, you are gonna get scammed if you're new to the game. If you're a veteran, you're gonna scam the other person. Very, very rarely is it a worthy trade. And that's because people are out there trying to make money from the trades. You can't make money from the trades unless you scam people. The only real reason that you should ever trade is in the later stages to get really, really rare skins. That's the only way. That's the only reason why you should trade. Don't trade. Just don't. You're not gonna make anything. You're not gonna get anything. You're most likely, most of the time, gonna lose. One of the ways that most people are gonna get scammed, and I would like to say this so people know, is that they artificially boost the price of something. I'll show you this just really quickly. Here you go. Found one. That took me less than 5 minutes. It says the average price for this one is 75 KR. And you see these spikes? These are people who have elevated the price. And you can do this as an individual. That's one of the major problems with it, is that you as an individual can go buy one for 1,000 and increase the price of an item. So what people will do, they'll trade you this one for 2 of yours, right? But you look at the price and be like, oh, this one is worth 75 KR. But your 2s are worth 20 KR put together. And then you see at the price, and it says the average price for all the other days, and you just filter through it, and it says like 4, 9, 7, 10, 7, right? 8, 5, 12. I speculate that this item is actually worth 8 KR. But you will look at it in the trades and see, it will say 75 KR, and it will be like, oh, good trade, you trade, and you realize that you've lost a lot of KR because the trade was false. Now, therefore, you have to be cognizant of it, and that's why you should never trade, because people will try this all the time. Doing a lot of Krunker, and people send me trades like that all the time. Even to this day. Even when I'm speaking about it, even after this YouTube video, people will still send me scam trades to try to make KR. And it's just don't trade. Just have a policy where you just don't trade unless the item is unobtainable. As in unobtainable, not as in rank, but as in you can't get it on the market. It's not on the market. Which brings us to the next one. Now we're going to talk about some actual moneymakers, some actual ways to get a lot of KR for minimal work, if you will. So the first one is flipping. What is it? You buy something cheap, sell it for more, and get a profit. That's really it. I've made probably around 150k to 200k, somewhere around there. That's 200,000 KR. 150,000 KR to 200,000 KR. Just putting it out. There's a couple things you have to be cognizant of. There's a 10% tax. So every time you put an item on the market, you have to pay 10% tax on it, meaning that 10% of the value that you're trying to post the item for, you have to pay in tax. So if you buy something for 1,000 KR, you want to sell it for 1,200 KR. You put it on the market. You have to pay 120 KR in tax, which means you'll make 80 KR. It's a little bit risky here and there. It happens often that you're gonna fail a trade. You're gonna not be able to get your money back, and you'll lose money on the trade. But overall, you're gonna make money more than you lose money. I would suggest don't start flipping before you have 1,000 to 2,000 KR. You can start trading before that, but it's not going to be that much KR in it. You want a little bit of a pool of money before you start really flipping full time, if you will. Because once you get, like, let's say 1,000 KR or 2,000 KR, you will be able to start flipping legendaries, where you can start making like 10 to 30 KR per flip, and they go very fast too. So you can make a lot of money just flipping legendaries. So it's a good way to make some money. Some other tips that I would suggest if you're thinking about flipping: never spend more than 25% of your total KR on one trade. It's kind of like, don't have all your eggs in one basket kind of deal. You know what I mean? And don't let an item stay on the market for more than 7 days unless you're leaving the game. If you're leaving the game, you can just let it stay because it doesn't really matter. Because maybe one day it will be bought, like 300 days from when you put it on. But generally speaking, don't have it on for more than 7 days if you're doing flipping actively. It takes up a slot and it's stagnant money. And you just have to accept that sometimes your flips are just not going to be able to go through. And then, gotta take the L and move on, so to speak. I'll show you a little bit of a demo. A little bit of a demonstration. I do have quite some KR, but I'm not going to do a big trade because big trades usually take a lot more time. So we're going to do a legendary trade. I do have a lot of KR, so I can do a contraband trade, and I do frequently, but it's a little bit more waiting. Once you go higher up in rarity, you have to wait a lot more or a lot longer before you get a good trade, and the trades are also a lot more unsure. It's a lot more risk factor in it, but a lot more fun too. But that's for another video, I suppose. Okay, here we have an item, bullet. It's been on the market for an hour. That's a little bit long. You always have to think that, if an item is on for an hour, remember that you're gonna buy it and put it for a higher price, and it's gonna take longer than an hour. Average price though is 350. And this is 300. So if we buy it, we can sell for put it on for let's say we put it on for 349, right under the average. We'll be making 15 KR. So I think I'm gonna do that. Okay, so we're gonna buy this one. This is a little bit more of a risky play. We'll make like 15 KR in profits. It's not that much. It's also legendary, so even if it fails, it's not that bad. It doesn't cost me that much money. If it fails. So we'll do it again. It's been a long time since I've traded legendaries, I'm not gonna lie. Knives are looking bad too. Oh, Tiger, Crimson Tiger, that's pretty good, but Vapor Blade though. Okay, there we go, Vapor Blade. 6 hours ago, Jesus Christ. Ooh, 26 minutes ago. Ooh, that's a cheap Vapor Blade. 3006 has been lately, 3003. 3001 is the average. But it's been pretty high lately. It's going to be a high risk trade if we're going to go for it. It's going to be it will be 350 at least in tax, which means we have to put it above 750, right? Because it's 3,399. So we have to put it for at least like 3,899. I think that's what we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna go for it. It's a little bit of a risky trade, but it's legendary, so for me it's not the worst. It's a little bit of a risky trade. 3,899. That means we're gonna be paying 380. This is also really good because you can see what the listing fee for how much you put in comes up directly, so you can calculate it on the way. Yeah, 3,399. 399, which means we have 599 in profit minus 389 is 210 KR so far if we accept that trade. But I'm not gonna go that risky on it. I think I'm just gonna take 499 in total profit minus the taxes of 10%, which will give us 120 KR profit if we get it through. 120 KR profit, that's pretty good. I'll take it at that. And let's hope for the best. Jesus Christ. One day. 40 minutes. This is interesting. I haven't seen Gun Z. Huh. 170. Average is like 187. We could buy this. It will be at least 20 KR in tax. We can put it for 199, make 9 KR. Yeah, let's buy it, put it on 109. It's a little bit of a risky trade again, but I don't really have the time because I'm recording. I don't really have the time to wait for good trades, because you will get trades where a shotgun will be put out for 99 KR and you just gotta be quick and grab it, and then it's easy money. No, it's 49 KR. We're gonna make 29 KR, nearly 30 KR, which is basically a victory. So if we get the sale, we're gonna get a victory, which is pretty good, right? Now I will say it takes 5 minutes before every trade goes online, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but eventually the money will keep rolling in. Now if it stays on there for 7 days, that means your trade did not work and it's time to change it out. You have only a certain amount of sales slots. Now it says 5 out of 40 here for me, but I believe I think it's only 20 slots for the average person. You only have 20 slots, so that's something to remember too. You want to try to use as much space as possible, like max out the space you have instead. I think that's the best way to go about it, because then it goes rapidly, it goes quickly. Now you know how I do it, how I made my KR. Just the way I showed you right now is how I've made between 150k and 200 KR for in the past what, 6 months. But it's not like I don't play that much. I maybe do trading for like an hour because I think it's fun, and then I log out, and when I get back on, I rake in the profits. So I made 150 to 200 KR, but it's been very like passively. Like I'll go in, check the trades. Oh, there's a good one. I'll take that one, and then I'll log out, and I won't check for the rest of the day. Like within a day, like let's say if you do that for like 8 hours. Man, you might make 20, you might hit 20k KR the first day. If you do it if you start with 1,000 to 2,000 KR, that is. Like you might hit 20k that same day. But you know, it all depends. Market goes up and down. It's not always beneficial, and it is risk. So you can lose a lot if you don't know what you're doing. So keep that in mind. Now we're gonna talk about this last one, and this last one. Oh, let me tell you, this last one's a big boy in these leagues. It's map making, straight up map making. It's the biggest money maker I think there is. It's way above flipping, at least, once you get really good at it and you have some popular maps. The only thing is though, it's a lot of work. But the income is passive. So you make a map, it just stays out there and it earns you KR. And you know, funny enough, if you make a good enough map, you can actually make real money on it too. Now, personally, I'm relatively new to map making. I'm not really that dedicated and invested. It takes a lot of time, and it's not always you're successful. Currently, I made between 40 and 70k KR from map making. But the great thing is that it's just out there and it keeps generating KR for you. So map making is definitely a way to go if you're dedicated, because it's going to take a lot of time. You're going to fail a lot. and you're gonna do a lot of wrong things, but eventually you might get there. So some tips when it comes to making maps is you start making a map, right? And then once you've gotten it good enough so people can play it and have fun with it, publish it. And then keep working on it and publish version 2. Keep working on it, publish version 3, version 4, 5, 6. And then pick the best one and then publish in that name. So let's go over to my games. So here are the maps that I've made. Here are all of them. Obviously, it's not that much KR in them right now because I've emptied them for not too long ago. We were doing a big giveaway and stuff. But as you see, I have some pretty decent maps. I have Lost Parkour and my Prison Escape. Those are doing pretty well. So I started out, one of the series that I did was Prison Escape. And as you can see, I have Prison Escape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I started working on the map, then I published a version, then I published second version, third, fourth, fifth, and a sixth version. And what was really interesting, I didn't do much promo on them at all. I just published them and see. And as you see, most of them, at least the beginning ones, they didn't really hit that much. Later on, they've kind of grown a little bit extra, but none of them really hit more than 1,000. Even the version 2 only hit 600. But for some reason, my version 3 popped off. Now this can be the flavor of the day, so to speak, that it was popping off. It just happened, so to speak. So I published it. Next day I came in, it was 10,000 plays, and which is quite incredible. But I kept going, just making different versions. And now, as you see, next time I'm going to update the map, I'm going to use this version because this is the one that naturally popped off. And if I don't really know why, like, because my sixth version is basically the same content as my third version, just a lot more, like 3 times as much, maybe 4 times as much content in it. It just didn't pop off. Not really sure why, but it just didn't pop off, which is interesting, because that means it's a little bit random. So when you make a map, I would suggest make a bunch of different versions of it. Plus, it gives you it looks like a lot nicer portfolio. Like if I were to just publish on the same map, I would have 4 maps in total, right? I would have the Tower Parkours, I would have a Lost Parkour, a Prison one, and the Comp one. That's 4 maps. But instead I have, 13. Basically you utilize your luck in a way to exponentially grow one of the maps. So next map I'm going to publish on, next time I do a Prison update, which I'm hopefully going to do within like the next few months maybe, I'm going to update it in the Prison Escape V3 map. Now, that's simply because it did the best. So this one, so basically I tried 2 ways. The best one, I think, is just to do multiple versions, try to make the map better and better, hope that one of the versions pop off, one of mine did, and then start publishing in that name. So those are the best ways and the greatest ways of making KR on Krunker. For hopefully you find this video useful. It took a lot of time to put together. I probably spent like 3 hours already and haven't even started editing. Oh god. So this is how you make KR. This is how you become big in the game. I was just editing and then I decided to check the trades that we just did, and here you go. 17 minutes ago, the Vapor Blade that we put on for 3,799 was sold. 17 minutes. It's pretty fast. Just a little bit one at the end there. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.